King Andile Mama.
So everybody in the house, give a warm round of applause for
King Andile Mama.
And he captures the moment.
King Andile Mama.
Man, it is extraordinary.
UEFA Champions League final as well as the Nedbank Cup final. What do the guys think? Mark?
I'm going to go for a Dortmund win. That's just my heart speaking and not my head.
Nadim Lukele.
It's your heart speaking. Okay, that's an interesting heart. But
let's move on to our local shows here. Michael Morton! Michael, what do you make of the final?
Yeah, well,
Mike, you're not sitting on the fence on this one, but...
Once and always.
I think Orlando Pirates is going to beat Mamelodi Sundowns by 2-1.
Who's had the most yellow cards in the DSU Premiership this season?
Sundowns.
How many?
I don't know, but I know
69! Coach Morgan Mamila now joins me 4 times now.
Yes.
You've been fired from Chipa.
Frankly and be honest, it's not the chairman who fired me.
So who fired you?
It's not the chairman who fired me.
It's Chipa's club and Chipa runs his club.
No, it's not chairman who fired me.
Who fired you, Morgan?
That one I can't.
Who fired you?
I was supposed to drive to
Limpopo today,
but
I asked you to be here. Chilani's out in Durban. Chilani,
I think you should have gone to Limpopo because a simple question: who fired you? He can't answer that. And why did he accept your invitation? I understand why he got fired.
Stephen de Kock now joins us on the line. Stephen,
thank you, Ndile. You know, it's always a pleasure, and it's always great chatting tennis with you. You know, you're the hardest person on radio these days.
Hey man, say it loudly. The Sports Awards are listening.
Sports Night Amplified with Ndile on Metro FM. Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Game over.
It's about to go 9 after the hour 6 on the Mighty Metro FM. Thank you so much to Thibaut Touch and Loot Love and the team. Kia ora bits, joining them. Lindy out for a little bit. You can catch her also on Saturday mornings on Weekend Breakfast. Sounds good. She's got the news there alongside Somizi, myself, and Uzi. That's Kia ora bits there. And of course, holding down the sports and warming it up before we come in with the full hour till 7 o'clock, top of the hour, is Morena. Thank you to the guys. They do it again tomorrow between 6 and 7. This is Sports That Amplified with Andile. We're going to be touching on a few things. It's a Tuesday, so you know. We're going to speak a little bit of cricket. Cas Naidu is out in the US with the cricket, the T20. South Africa, fantastic yesterday. But I worry when we do so well. I worry about our cricket team. You know when you want to say, don't do so well. No, don't beat Sri Lanka so badly. Because that word that we all know is going to come up. But we seem to be giving ourselves, a little headway in that title of favorites for this tournament. We'll speak to Cas Naidu. And also, the big talking point, why is it that Kagiso Rabada is the only representation of, the larger black society in this country? We'll have those conversations with Cass Naidoo. She's the perfect person to talk this with. And then Djokovic retiring from Roland Garros. That means both the GOATs out. What does that mean for what remains? So we'll have that competition, or rather the conversation too. We'll play you some clips on Hugo Bruce and the changes that he's had to make at Bafana Bafana. And Dan Malisela has been given a break at Baroka. Is this opening a pathway for Morgan Mamila? Let's chat.
Not everyone believes in the youth of 2024. Inventors, leaders. But we are not everyone. Some of the most important people in history. Metro FM. Celebrating the leaders of tomorrow, today. Sports Night Amplified with Ndile on Metro FM.
They've got the trophy here, the Buccaneers here. I'll tell you what, I thought that Sipho Chain was much taller than me. He's in studio. We're going to be talking to him. He's short, guys. Sipho's not that tall.
Que Cortez.
No, not penalty. Sipho, talk to me through that penalty. What were you told about Ribeiro? What were you told about?
Nothing much.
No, come on.
But he does tend to go that side most of his penalties. So.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Is it a secret?
It's not a secret, man.
What did the analyst say? Ribeiro will take the penalty and he's gonna?
No, and you try and help the team.
6 to 7 p.m. Sports Night Amplified with Ndile on Metro FM. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
South African bowlers bundled Sri Lanka out for 77 runs on a bowling-friendly wicket to help the Proteas to a comfortable 6-wicket win in the opening T20 World Cup match. This is in New York yesterday. Fast bowler Andrich Nortje was one who struggled for consistency since returning from an 8-month back injury in forced layoff last year. He was one of the best in his place and accuracy as he helped Stamboli, the Sri Lankan batters. I mean, he was really great on that one. When we're speaking to founder of G Sport and also cricket commentator who's out in New York at the World Cup, Cass Naidoo. We'll get to that in just a bit. But firstly, I want to speak a little bit of Bafana Bafana because Hugo Bruce has had something to say on Sundowns' players being injured. As you know, Grant Kekana has had an injury and he's had to be replaced. Msimang has come on to replace him. And also there's talks of Mudau. Of course, we saw Mudau getting injured in the final against Orlando Pirates. Obas, Mudiba and Williams. Have a listen to him on Sundowns players.
It's amazing that from the 6 injured players we have, that there are 6 players of the same team, Sundowns. Sundowns had many injuries this season, and we know, everybody knows, one of the reasons is certainly the overloaded program. They played a lot of games, but what is interesting is that 75% of the injuries are groin and hamstring injuries, and I think there has to be something more than that. I hope that the medical staff of Sundowns can find the reason for that, because next season it will be exactly the same. They will have the same overloaded program. They will play PSL, they will play MTN, they will play Champions League. There is even a World Cup for the clubs at the end of the season.
So it's actually one tournament extra. I'm not sure what's going on with the AFL so far, but it's one tournament extra for Sundowns because then they do the Club World Cup. And Hugo Bruce saying they need to look a little bit further in detail into that to see what the issue is. He mentions the players that are injured. Have a listen to this. This is him speaking on Mudau, Williams, Obas and Mudiba injuries in particular.
Second problem, Kolisa Mudau. So everybody knows what happens in the final of Saturday. But after the medical check yesterday evening, doctor gave me the guarantee, and also the player, that is not that bad. Third, little problems with Tebogo, Mokoena, Aubrey Modiva, Batusi, Obas and Ronan Williams. Nothing to worry about, but okay, the little problem is there, but it will give us no problem for the game of Friday. I have to mention it, that those 4 players have a little problem.
Little negligence, rather niggles for those particular players. But I did see, because I was worried about Mudau. You saw how he was against the Pirates, but he was able to finish the final. But you saw him now strapped heavily. He's got a black strap that he's got on, that he was training with at Bafana Bafana. It's good to know that those players are going to stay within camp, and the doctor's saying, they've got the green card to go on and train and maybe even play in these 2 games. Very big games for Bafana Bafana in South Africa. Qualifications for the World Cup out in the US and Mexico. You're talking about, a Nigerian team that has got a team that's rearing to go, young players, some sort of bronze or silver generation even, if you will, because not quite golden yet, who are egging to really do well. And then you've got a Zimbabwean team, and whenever we meet Zimbabwe, it's never easy, regardless of what you might think of the caliber of Zimbabwe. So important for Bafana Bafana. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, Stephen de Kock will be joining us, and we'll be speaking all things tennis. Novak Djokovic, 5-set thriller against Francisco Kerundolo was a great one. But what's since happened then? You saw the breaking news. Novak Djokovic withdrawing from Roland Garros due to a knee injury. It's turning out to be not the excitement that I wanted. I didn't want to see the GOATs go out in this fashion.
Sports Night Amplified with Andile on Metro FM.
Olisandal, Sipo Chain. They've got the trophy here, the Buccaneers here. When we speak about how good is someone, Sipo, where do you place him? When you look at him, how good is he?
I remember the first week when he got promoted to the senior team. He got this the way Neymar likes to control the ball. And I'm thinking, this 18-year-old. He's really one of the best I've ever seen.
Really?
At that age in this country.
Olisa, you've observed him.
He's a very special talent. He's different.
Coach Hugo's listening right now. Big question, Mazala. We need to know. Do we play him against Nigeria?
I don't know.
Olisa has gotten a call already to
Olisa, who's that boy?
Grip some crib notes.
President Yamatuta.
Marawai, it's a good money, so.
President Yamatuta.
Marawai, it's a good money, so.
6 to 7 p.m. We don't play games. We run this mother. We wrote the game. Up in here, it's burning. Metro FM. It's where you want to be.
Need the right tools to run your small business? With Nedbank, you get the latest Visa, MasterCard, and Amex accepting card payment device delivered to you within 48 hours. Enjoy getting your payments straight into your Nedbank account on the same day. Plus, you could get 100% back on the purchase price of the device. Apply on the Nedbank Money app today. Join the bank that's best for your small business. Nedbank, a licensed financial services and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Our democracy and freedom are valuable and have led to positive change in the lives of our people. Mzansi, here's what we've achieved in the past 30 years. Over 3 million indigent households benefited from free basic services. Primary healthcare services is up from 68 million head counts in 1998 to 138.8 million in 2022. Mzansi, we are because you are. Working together, we can achieve even more. A message from government.
Race for riches with Hollywood Bets Spinner Song Get Jackpot Race. Bet R2 or more on selected games every Wednesday, Friday and Saturday between 8:30 and 10:30 p.m. You could win your share of 3 million rand. Take the spin of a lifetime and play now. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Get into it. Let the good times roll. Turn it up.
My station, my music.
It's Metro FM, the biggest commercial radio station in the land. We won't stop. Keep it locked in Mzansi's favorite radio station. Non-stop entertainment with nothing but the best.
Let's go.
We are the heartbeat of the nation. Metro FM. It's where you want to be. Sports Night Amplified with Andile on Metro FM. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
Dan Malisela was given a mandate by Baroka Football Club to qualify them to the DStv Premiership. That qualification obviously ends at the end of playoffs because he's made it into the playoffs. He qualified them to the playoffs, finishing third after, of course, we saw the automatic qualification by Magesi and then the University of Pretoria as well as them. Now they've got to play Richards Bay for qualification. The first match, not a great, outing for Dan Dance, losing that first game. But remember, this is a smallanyana table, which means you can still go on to win. But Dan Dance has not been given the opportunity to fulfill or fail at the mandate that he was given. He's now been taken off the duties of coach, suspended by Baroka. And news getting to me now saying, hey, the man that was in this studio that needed to go home to Polokwane, perhaps there's a reason he needed to get to Polokwane. Morgan Mamila, is it possible that he's the man that's, will be tasked to see if he can qualify the team to the playoffs? He's a man that just come fresh off the benches of the DStv Premiership, knows the likes of Richards Bay because he played against them when he was at Chippa United. But how fair would this be on a Dan Dance Malesela? What does Dan have to do to prove himself as a coach? I would love to see a reality when a team says to Dan Dance, here's a preseason, here are the players that you want, here's a team, let's see your full abilities. Now, what was happening at Chippa, where he'd get fired after 2 games, 3 games, a month, 2 months, in his short stints. Now, what was happening at Royal AM when he was given coaching, but also given 2 other assistant coaches to work alongside him? I can't say that I know the type of coach. And perhaps we can take a little bit from TS Galaxy, a little bit from there. But can you truly say you know Dan Dance? Can you truly say he's been given fair shot and fair chance across the board? The other side of the conversation is, why is it that he isn't given that shot? Is there something that we don't know? Why is it that at TS Galaxy, at Chippa, at Cape Town All-Stars, and all the teams that he's been there, Royal AM, that it never quite works out, that he's sitting there for 2-3 years building a team, or maybe 1 or 2 years building a team and competing? These are conversations I'm going to have with Dan Dance Malesela and perhaps maybe even his employers. Because as we speak now, Baroka are without Dan Dance Malesela, who got them to the playoffs. He's going to be watching those from home. And if they do qualify, do we give credit to him? I don't know. It's 22 after the hour 6 on the Mighty Metro FM. Lots of tennis currently underway in Roland Garros. And as per usual, if we're speaking tennis, we've got to go Stephen de Kock, who now joins us. Cricket commentator Cass Naidu hopefully will be joining us shortly after that conversation. But tennis coach who coaches around the world and rubs shoulders with the biggest tennis stars, Stephen now joins us. Stephen, twice in 2 weeks, I'm going to play the lotto. Surely my lucky stars are coming in.
No, definitely. I think we had great discussions in the beginning of the French, and I think some of if I were rubbing my crystal ball, some of the stuff is coming true. But what a shock about Novak after a phenomenal 5-set match against Serendulo, and then withdrawing today because of a knee injury. It was a shock to the tennis world. But a lot of action and drama. Novak during the match last night, he was complaining a lot about the court being so slippery and falling around, and he made a lot of remarks towards the umpire and even the tour managers next to the court. So let's see if that had an impact on his knee.
I must tell you, when I did see that and I saw him complaining, I kind of got, I didn't want to watch the match. I was like, oh, geez, man, are you going to actually just play? Because it was a great physical test of tennis prowess from the two of them. And I enjoyed watching Novak, but I was like, was he going to whine the whole time? I felt a little bit bad after receiving the news that his knee is not going to allow him to carry on. I thought, perhaps he was onto something here.
Yeah, I think, with all the rain at the French this year, what happened was that they didn't wet the courts, and the courts do dry up very quickly. They put a lot of calcium in the courts; it absorbs the moist. So it was dry, but they didn't want to wet it too much because there's already moisture in the court. But I think it's a great surface. I think what Serendulo did really well is he could hold the ball, and then Novak would choose his side, and he could get the ball in behind Novak. And Francisco was up in the 4th set with 2-1, 4-2 up in the 4th, and somehow the nerves got to him, and he let that set slip, and then it was shoulder to shoulder, and then again he was 40-love up at 3-all, or 4-3, and Novak just stepped it up, played fearless tennis, got back to deuce, broke him, and took the next set and took the match. You know, what a breeze. And it's just the tenacity of Novak that, you know, 37 years old, competing at this level. I thought maybe he's just going to roll over. He was, like you said, he was complaining a lot, you know, but no ways. He said, no ways. I'm not rolling over to the guy that's number 24 in the world.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to show you who's the real GOAT out there.
I mean, they've still got a Tsitsipas and an Alcaraz, and we could go on about some of the big names that are still there, and we'll speak about that matchup in particular. But losing Nadal in the fashion that they did, and then losing Novak now, it does take something away from this match. It does take something away. But at the same time, it opens a window of what the future of tennis perhaps looks like.
Yeah, of course. You know, if we look at the quarterfinals, Casper Ruud against Novak, that was last year's final.
Oh.
You know, and that's happening in the quarterfinals. You know, it's popcorn tennis out there. You know, you've got Stefanos Tsitsipas, the hottest player on the tour currently during the clay court season. He's playing Alcaraz. You got Dimitrov that just finished his match against Sinner. Dimitrov, first time that he's in the second week at the French, you know, fourth round. He lost to Sinner 6-2, 6-4, 7-6. They just finished a few minutes ago. You know, so there's great tennis ahead. And I think that with Novak, yes, it's sad for us that has been watching tennis, but the newer generations following tennis, you know, it's just like it's part of the storytelling. It's happened. Let's move on. Who's the next big thing? You know, and it just shows you people in the sporting world that move on. You know, I often listen to you in soccer, and you know, and you know yourself, if you're only as good as your last game, and then 2 weeks later, people forget about you.
Well, let's look to the future now. I mean, we've been denied that quarterfinal that we were all looking so forward to. And this is not the way, and I've had this conversation before, this is not the way I like to see my GOATs go out. You know, I don't want to see them fighting for their lives, fighting these young ones in the way that we're seeing at the moment. I'd love to see them, you know, retire in a perfect way, but it's not a perfect world, is it? You've got the future of tennis in the next matchup. We're talking about a matter of time now. I think it's, what is it? I think it's just after 8 that we're going to be seeing it. Tsitsipas Alcaraz.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Every player decides for themselves how they want to step out of the game. And you could see, even with Nadal, what we spoke about, Rafa said, maybe I'll be back. I don't know. You know, I don't know what my terms are yet. You know, how am I going to retire, you know? I think it's easy to have a clean slate and say, hey, boys, I'm done. This is my last French. This is my last. You know, I think it's easier from a psychological perspective to deal with it. But also, then you don't want to have what ifs and buts. You know, if you may be healthy and you want to come back and you feel like you've got that one more title within yourself, you know. So Tsitsipas, Alcaraz made a few smart decisions. He didn't play Rome. He rested his body. He said he didn't feel 100%. He's looking pretty sharp on the clay. You know, it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be a night match. Going to be slightly slower as in the day. It's still going to be slightly light out there, but maybe they close the roof. You know, so there's a few things, and I think Steph is pretty hungry. You know, he's been in a final there before. You know, he really wants to show people how good he is and what he can achieve, you know, and it's his favorite surface where he's got most of the best results.
Surely the winner of this is then the favorite.
You would say so. You know?
No? you would disagree with that?
Definitely, I would say so. But again, the French, I feel usually at the French Open, without a Novak and a Nadal, there's this inkling of you don't know who's going to crumble under the pressure or expectations, you know, like, and that's what brings it back, where it's not a clear outright favorite. In the last, let's say, in the last 15 to 16 years, we knew who's going to win the French, you know, or who's going to be in the finals, more or less. And I think the door is slightly a little bit more open, you know, tonight. And we've seen it with Alcaraz before as well. You know, we've got high expectations on the clay with him. Let's see. Ruud is through to the semis. He's going to have an extra few rest days. Maybe he's going to be fresh as a fiddle. It's going to be very, very interesting.
Listen, if it keeps on dishing out newsworthy conversations like this, we're going to be talking a lot more than I anticipated. But what a run this Roland Garros. I mean, so far, it's not the great tennis I'll remember it for. But I mean, it's the two giants of tennis exiting at the point that they did due to whatever circumstances that sticks top of mind. Novak, though, pretty sure it's not the last we're seeing of him. And Nadal, he's going to be having tough conversations with himself. We'll follow both those stories with Stephen de Kock, of course, as we go along. Stephen, I can't wait to speak just after this weekend, and we'll know a lot closer than what we do now. Thank you so much for always joining us.
Thank you, Sandile. Have a lovely evening.
Appreciate him so much. Stephen de Kock, a man that rubs shoulders with these guys, trains in the same courts that they do, plays in the same courts as a tennis coach, some of the best in the world. He takes minutes out and he comes to speak to us here, not only as somebody who's watching it all on TV, but someone who's got the inside scoop to the people and not just the players, the athletes. He knows the people. He knows the coaches. He knows them personally. And what he says, hey, take it to the bank.
Let the good times roll. Turn it up.
My station, my music.
It's Metro FM, the biggest commercial radio station in the land. We won't stop. Keep it locked in Mzansi's favorite radio station. Non-stop entertainment with nothing but the best.
Let's go.
We are the heartbeat of the nation. Metro FM. It's where you want to be. Not everyone believes in the youth of 2024. Inventors, leaders. But we are not everyone. Some of the most important people in history. Metro FM. Celebrating the leaders of tomorrow, today.
Sports Night Amplified with Ndile on Metro FM. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
1832 on the Mighty Metro FM. There's a lot of things that I've discussed on here that I've taken out on you. It's the Bafana Bafana joint. It's Dan Dance Malisela. We spoke a little bit of tennis, and I'd love to hear those tennis heads out there that normally share in the tennis conversations, but also the cricket conversation. It's a T20. It is an ICC tournament. Yet another opportunity for one of the greatest cricketing countries. Because whether we like it or not, yes, we don't have an ICC trophy. We've never won an ICC tournament. But the Proteas, South African cricket men's team in particular, are one of the giants in the sport. We are. We're top 5 at our worst, top 2 at our best, and number 1 at our utmost. We've done it. We've proven it. We've shitted out some of the great cricketers in history. We've put together some of the best teams. Yes, we've always struggled when it comes to big tournaments. But this time around, there's an exuberance of excitement around the Proteas. They didn't start off on a good note, because they started off on a note where South Africans are asking, how is this team a representation of everything we are? Because Kagiso Rabada, the only player of color, black player in that team. Then we got over that and we said, okay, let's go. Let's see what it is that they're going to do. I'm not sure if them being as they are selected is a representation of you and therefore you feel you must support. I know there's been plenty of times when I have looked away, because I just felt I wasn't represented. But then they go out there and they do what they did yesterday against Sri Lanka. I almost want to say, guys, let's tune it back a little bit. You're doing too well. You're doing a little too well. Are they going to get to a point where South Africa gets behind this team again? They need it. Very much like what Bafana Bafana have done. They don't have that nod of the Springboks, those two. They still need to deserve our support. They still need to win us over every now and then. And they do so sometimes. And sometimes, they kind of make us more angry than proud. Cass Naidu is out in the USA. Cass, thank you so much for always joining us. G Sport founder and one of the best cricket commentators in the world. Cass, you well?
It's lovely to be on the show. How are you?
How's New York? Are you in where in the States are you? In New York at the moment?
I am following the West Indies campaign. So I'm currently in Guyana, but sightseeing, heading towards the Amazon forest for a day. And I managed to get some Wi-Fi on a Starlink connection, so I'm glad I could chat to you. But I was also watching with great interest the New York game. The surface wasn't ideal for a T20 game, and I think South Africa were lucky to have, Sri Lanka decided to bat first. They should have actually bowled first. But there were so many good signs, right? Anrik Nortje's back. The Proteas batting unit is strong. Keshav Maharaj is looking good. But we've seen this movie before. South Africa have started well. They do well in the group stages. And I think we all are going to go through the motions in this journey, and we want to see South Africa get across that semi-final line. And perhaps that's why the fans are kind of holding back, because there's been so many years of disappointment.
Yeah. I just, the USA, they're really great at wanting to start things. They did so in football. They tried to do so in rugby. Cricket is their next thing. It's not a sport that's particularly popular in the United States of America. I wondered when, we all heard about New York and all of these states to say, how is that going to be for cricket? Because you want a certain buzz in and around the World Cup, don't you?
Cricket was always destined to go to America. It was just the how. And I think the T20 format has made it easier for the ICC to take cricket to the United States. Going to New York was obviously the big thing. It's where everyone wants to be and where everyone wants to be seen. The India-Pakistan game will be big. It will be massive for the expat communities that are there. And it's going to take some time. But what I'm hearing is the development of cricket in the United States, under 9, under 11, under 13 cricket, girls and boys. It's really picking up pace. And I get a sense in the next decade when we look back at this moment, we'll say that was the pivotal moment that got the United States into cricket.
We've spoken about the Proteas, and we're going to wrap up with them in a bit, Cass, but I just want to branch off a little bit here. Who else is a team to watch at the moment, would you say?
I'm scared for this World Cup and the big teams because of the format. It isn't a two-tier format like previously. You had associate nations playing each other, then they qualified to get into the main draw. You've got 20 teams, 4 groups, and 5 teams in each group. And the associate teams believe they have done so much prep for this. Watch out for an upset in Dallas or New York, I would say. I hope it's not Netherlands versus South Africa in New York. That would really be horrible. But I have a feeling USA or Canada is going to upset someone in Dallas. Even when they have tough campaigns, they know how to get into a winning position. You mentioned the Springboks. One of the reasons why fans find it easier to get behind them is because they've already won and they've been winning since 1995. So you don't mind the disappointments. But when you haven't won and your heart gets broken all the time and kids are crying and families feel disappointed because it has the opportunity and they have the potential, I think that's it. I really sincerely hope they can win a World Cup. It will just stop this rhetoric and the narrative that currently goes on around it.
Speaking of South Africa, look at the continent. I was fortunate enough to catch a little bit of that Afghanistan versus Uganda. A long way to go as Africans, because I think 59 or 58 is what they were able to put up. Bitterly disappointing Ugandan innings. Oh no. Have we lost Cass? I think we have lost Cass. Cass is all the way, of course, out in the USA. That's where the tournament is being held. And yeah, I had the same reaction about cricket and the USA. And I often think to myself, these are baseball lovers. And the baseball in its format is very similar to the 5-day format even, because it's so lengthy. It's the entire day of constant bowling and batting. And T20, a lot more exciting, a lot more quicker. We have lost Cass Naidoo. She had to stop in transit in order to talk to us. So we'll catch up with that perhaps let's talk to you. Have you been watching the cricket? Are you following the Proteas? What about the tennis? Roland Garros. Are you following what's been happening there? I'd love to hear from you. Do give us a call and do send us some WhatsApp voice notes there. Would love to hear from you. Yesterday, you didn't even get an opportunity to say much because the players were here, the coach was here. It was a full house. 086 000 2160 for the call and 060 552 7303 for the WhatsApp.
We don't play games.
We run this mother.
We wrote the game.
Up in here, it's burning.
Metro FM. It's where you want to be. At work, at play, online, and on the air. Check us out at Metro FM SA on all the socials. Metro FM. It's where you want to be.
Sports Night Amplified with Ndile on Metro FM. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
I'm hanging with Boom Shaka in studio right now. What's the strangest thing that Tembi does to keep looking this way?
Gym, smiling.
Yeah.
And just a good heart. You know?
Yeah, I think just a positive attitude, you know what I mean? And treat people the way you want to be treated.
Amen.
I find joy. I think being loved and being celebrated, it's a blessing, and I don't take anything for granted.
Yeah.
I love hanging out with young people. I love their energy. And I celebrate change. I celebrate them.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Theo. Yes. Oh my God. It's my turn. I thought you wouldn't notice that I'm here. I am here, guys. Hello, South Africa. Tell me how you doing.
Touchdown! It's the touchdown with T-Bo Touch.
And Lou Love.
Monday to Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. on Metro FM.
1841 on the Mighty Metro FM. Let's hear from you and see if we can get Cass Naidu back. I'd love to hear particularly those that want to speak cricket and tennis as well, but it's all open conversation. But I'd love to particularly hear from you guys. It's not something that we discuss often, and I'm pretty sure that when we do get the opportunity, you'd love to come in. Go and say to me, who do we speak to cricket? There's a person, gets Habo. Yeah? Yeah, man, there's somebody. Let's go to Mufedi. Is it Mufedi or Mufedi? Go to Shekho. Mufedi.
My brother, how are you?
Ke sharp, man. Ke Mufedi or ke Mafedi?
Ke Mufedi, Mufedi.
Oh, Mufedi. Mufedi, o nyaka bolla ka Nedbank?
Yeah, ke batla go bua ka Nedbank ntate.
It's okay because ga ka lefa opportunity maobane o bolla ka yona, so let's go for it.
You know what? I'm a diehard supporter of Mamelodi Sundowns. Mara ke nyaka go ba honest, ke congratulate Orlando Pirates. They have a good football, and then for this loss, we saw the whole management of Sundowns, even an eye-opener to them. The ship is sinking.
The ship is sinking?
Yeah.
Effing, yes, Sundowns, so?
Yes, my brother.
Sundowns are winning league with 7 games to go with 23 points between. Hold on. With 23 points between 1 and 2, with a record number of goals and concession of goals, and only losing 1 match, winning the African Football League, getting to the semi-finals of the Champions League. That Sundowns' ship is sinking.
I agree with you there. Let me tell you something. The time Patrice was the chairman of Mamelodi Sundowns. He once said we must conquer South African football first before we go to Africa. To conquer South African football, you must also win the domestic cups.
When you speak about the time that Patrice was Dr. Patrice.
Even now, my brother, I'm just saying. Look,
no, but you're saying that at that time you feel they were doing well because Dr. Patrice Motsepe was there. But how many local Pizza left without winning the MTN, right?
Yeah.
You know that even then, the predominant cup that Sundowns were winning was just the league. Yes, every now and then they'd get the odd Nedbank here, the odd trophy here and there. But the predominant cup that Sundowns have been winning over the years is the league, the big one, the important one.
My brother, we also have to win the Nedbank Cup, or at least the Carling Black Netball Cup.
So the AFL doesn't count. This team won the AFL.
No, I agree with you there, but I'm saying that, you know what, when I'm saying our management must take this thing as a lesson. Even if you can go to our coach and ask him his solid first 11, he doesn't know it. He's changing our lineups like I don't know.
But when you're playing 70 games a season,
my brother, let me just say this to you now. What I
50 games a season. Are you going to have one lineup? You heard what Hugo Bruce said, right? He said Sundowns players, the reason they're suffering the way they're suffering is because they're playing too many games. So he's got to manage that as well.
If you can go and check there, you'll find that maybe and players have only played 3 games per season.
That what? Sorry? Who's played 3 games a season?
I'm just saying, if you can check then, you'll find that some of the players didn't even play 10 games. How many games did Sereno
No,
play?
true. There are players who haven't played 10 games. This is true.
They do what?
I'm saying that's not a lie. You're being truthful. I hear what you're saying.
So, and you know what? What I also want us to do, my brother, we need, when we sign players, you must sign someone that you really need. Look, we have signed Escuze not long ago, but we're keeping him on the bench. For what?
Well, you can't play all of them, can you?
And the other thing, our coach must not be personal. You know what? We need Sereno. You know, we failed in Africa because we were not having Sereno there. You know, experience counts.
No, I hear you. You know what? I think, Mufedi, your initial statement to say Sundowns is going down. Or you...
It is going, let me say this thing. Next season, next year,
yep.
I'll call you.
Not even next.
This is our last league medal this year. You'll see.
This is Sundowns' last league medal.
You must watch Stellenbosch or Orlando Pirates. I'm telling you.
So they're going to close the 23-point gap and surpass Sundowns.
You know what? They're going to do that. I'm telling you.
Okay.
You see, this kind of season, my brother, this is our last.
Mufedi, I appreciate you. Thank you very much, man.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. This is the one show, guys, and I always say this to you. You're allowed to disagree with us. You're allowed to have your own opinion that is different to that of ours. It's okay. Bonkosi is out in Dobsonville. Is it Bonkosi next? Yes, it is. Bonkosi. Ngumqemane.
Phambi kokuba ngithethe nge-line-up yethu ngiqale ngithethe ngama-officials eqala. Andile kuye-28 Pirates benefited, as I said on Friday. You remember I said on Friday that we only need a fair game.
You did. You said, and I remember this because on Saturday and on Monday we spoke about it. You said all we need is a fair referee.
You see now, and again, Pirates benefited again on MTN8.
Just so I know we're on the same page, Bonkosi. How did they benefit?
That was not a penalty, Andile.
Okay.
Let's be honest. That was not a penalty, Andile.
Well, that's what Victor Hlungwane says. So I'll go with Victor Hlungwane all day.
And what I know is that that ref is not going to be suspended like Abongile Tom because it's Pirates. But when it's Sundowns, immediately the referees they get suspended. It's always a one-way traffic, Andile, when it comes to this picture. Only one team that has to benefit.
You're a Sundowns supporter, right?
You know me.
I just spoke to Mufedi now, who's a Sundowns supporter, and he says this is your last league medal. He says that he's not happy. Sundowns are currently on a decline.
Remember last year I told you, and then you said nobody didn't listen to a conversation between you and Rulani. You will always cry for Sereno. Let me ask you one question, Andy. Did you see Sereno not performing when he's given a chance?
I think the coach was here, and the coach did say that Sereno's challenges are not on the field.
Yeah, but now we have not yet another side of the story. But what you know, whenever Sereno is given the opportunity, he makes sure he delivers.
So then, Bonkosi, you think one player, Sereno, would have changed all of Sundowns' fortunes in the Champions League, in the Nedbank Cup, in the MTN? You think the involvement of one particular player, Sereno, would have changed your fortunes?
No, I'm not saying like that until the party does not do the favoritism. The favoritism is what is killing the team. That's what you are saying.
Who is he favoring? Who is he favoring?
No, the players that you feel like they will not deserve to play in the lineup.
Who?
And you see, like Zungu. Why are you thinking Zungu that position? But there's Mbala. Yes, you understand Mbala. He made a mistake on the last game. But now he's comfortable with when he's playing with Kekan. We saw it in the AFCON. We've seen it in a lot of games. That Mbala is doing well when he's playing with Kekan. So why was not fielding against Pirates? Because he made a mistake on the last game, he's going to make a mistake again.
Bonkosi, out in Dobsonville. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Timmy, so nobody wants to speak my tennis. Let me take one more. Let's go to Tara before we go to an air break. I'm going to be taking calls till top of the hour. So, do call in now. Let's go. Didn't give you an opportunity yesterday. It doesn't happen often that we do have this time. But as you heard, our line with Cass not quite working out. Tara.
What about Andy Lomizan?
Ungompu Tara. Tara lo webholo okanye wepolitiki?
Ngwebhola.
Where's Tara Fontaine? You must look him up. I'm Kumulu Tara Fontaine.
Yeah, I remember.
Timmy, you must find Tara. Let's have Tara in the studio soon. Talk to me. What do you want to speak about? The Nedbank Cup?
Today, Andy, I just want to talk about the Alain Dembata issue that we just saw in the last 2 days.
Yeah.
When Bata was on the radio station calling another professional player lazy, that's uncalled for, Andy. This is, to me, or maybe to someone else, it's uncalled for. You don't do that. You don't say that. You can't say to
he can't speak his mind. He can't speak what he feels, what he thinks.
Yeah, you can, Andy, but there are things that you, on a public platform, that you don't say, Andy. Especially a young player as Mbata, a good player as Mbata. You know what I mean? And
what is wrong with what he said, Tara? He said he was speaking to our sister station here yesterday. We had the Pirates players all sprung out, and they had Mbata, and he said that he knew what he could do and what he couldn't do. He knows that Allende doesn't always come up. He stays back and acts like he's defending, but he's not because he's lazy, right?
Yeah.
That to some people that could sound like critical analysis of the player.
I understand, Andile, but there's a word there called lazy. I'm not saying you should not analyze the opposition the way he did. That was perfect. That was good. We're happy for that. But I think you need to pick up words that you can't use as a professional to other colleagues.
Okay. No, I hear you. Tara, appreciate it there, saying that that was uncalled for and something that he would have rather not heard. Zane, Nati, Dr. Mudisa Lisiba, I'm coming to you in a few. We're going to start with Nati, speaking Roland Garros. There we go.
The ShopRite price means you'll get low prices on everything you need. Like 1 kg Kellogg's cornflakes for only $69.99. 750 grams Nola mayonnaise for just $36.99. 400 mils Nivea body lotion, just $54.99 each. And Huggies Dry Comfort or Gold baby nappies or pants, only $189.99 each. Valid until 9 June. Only at ShopRite.
Hollywood Bets gives you multiple mystery parcels filled with super surprises every Wednesday and Sunday evening. Bet R2 or more on selected Playtech slot games and stand a chance to win up to R1 million in cash weekly.
T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Sports Night Amplified with Ndile on Metro FM. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
It's exactly 18:52, about to go 53 on the Mighty Metro FM. Top of the hour, 7 o'clock. Faith does come in to take you through Metro FM talk, and then after that it's a little bit of talk, a little bit of music, that nice mixture that comes onto Metro FM from 9 o'clock onwards. Let's go to Nati. Nati's in Alberton, wants to speak Roland Garros. Nati. Kumnandi ukhuluma itennis man.
Good. Before I'm going to out very quickly. I'm a diehard Pirates supporter.
Nati.
But there's no data that supports it. Sometimes it's getting tricky, but I'm not going to get into that. I'm trying to control my emotions. So back to Roland Garros. Well, firstly, I'm a little bit disappointed that Novak has had to pull out, even though he wasn't going to win it. I mean, I'm just.
What do you mean? He was the clear favorite, especially after Nadal was out.
Of course, because he was the number one seed and he was won this thing more than anyone else apart from Nadal. But other than that, he was, in fact, the way he's been playing,
His tennis hasn't been convincing. He hasn't won anything, which is very unlike obviously Novak.
Yeah, he hasn't won anything this year, which is a first for him.
Yeah, and he's been struggling. And even he's all of it, the way we didn't go call, you could tell that he was actually very, very pushed. But it is very sad. I still wanted him to go further and see what will be doing. But the fact that I put it out the way when I got it's very, very sad. But in any case, for me, the people that was doing that is either Alcaraz or Sina. The way about Langakon, everyone knows.
Okay, I also think between Tsitsipas and Alcaraz, whoever wins that match.
Tsitsipas is not going to win today.
So he's going to be beaten by Alcaraz.
No.
Whoever wins that match for me is the favorite.
Not necessarily. We're seeing the line. We're one get straight set today. We want to destroy Angelo because we didn't drop. So it's either Sino or Alcaraz, but I'm inclined to think Sino's going to take it.
I can't wait to speak to you on Monday, yeah?
Yeah, let's just wait and see. That's a question.
Let's have the conversation on Monday. I can't wait for it. I think it's going to be a hot one. Zane, udlamini, usekapa lo dumo, funta nga Netbank. Zane?
Mr. Ngobe, kunjani bhuti?
Yeah, no strong, go for it.
Ngiyaphila bhuti wami, ngifuna ukukhuluma nge-Netbank. I-Netbank isibonisile kahle ukuthi simephi siyi-South Africa ngokwesoka. I-supporter ye-Pirates, but into engiyibukele between the two teams. I-Sundowns is becoming so slowly. And lento le ngizwiswa ubuhlungu ukuthi labantu basirepresente kahle kwi-Africa Cup of Nations and sizodibana Nigeria. Maybe slowly ngale ndlela bengayivali ama-gap fast ngale ndlela sisazawushawa kakhulu. Ngibuye kwi-Orlando Pirates. I-Pirates isibonisile ukuthi we do have the talent e-South Africa njengantwana kaMfukeni. But rebula aba-quick i-Sundowns ibonisa ukuba slowly and then uMfukeni wabonisa this is how we're supposed to score goals. Ithuba elincane upick up i-sport. At first kube kusabe ngizwe i-Pirates bengizawuthi i-Pirates ayikhahleli bengikhala nje kakhulu ngithi abakhahleli. Ba-create amathuba kuvuleka iy'bhesi eziningi but bangakhahleli up until kufika uMfukeni ababonisa ukuthi kwenziwa njani. That's how we're supposed to play as professional soccer in South Africa.
You know what I don't understand, Zane?
Sorry?
Do you know what I don't understand?
What?
Sundowns win the league, lose just the last match. They won, they're unbeaten up until that last match. And we are on the radio. You guys are calling in on social media, in conversation at Garage Yonkinda. We're speaking about how this team is just something special. They lose one game to Orlando Pirates. Maybe let's say they had a bad game. And you think that's a measure of who they are as a team?
No. They're playing very well, don't get me wrong. They're playing very, very well. But in the pick up, they are becoming so slow. I think it's because of they've been winning games, they are overconfident, but they are so slowly to close the gap. Ngifuna isithe sizawudlala siyi-Nigeria siyizwe ukuthi sithini but made slowly ngale ndlela bengavali ibhesi then sisazawushaya kakhulu ngama-games ofuna singadliwa uMfukeni ukubonisile lokho ukuthi uma sithola abantu abakhwikhi bangashaya 10 goals kanti i-Sundowns okwamanje yiyona ebambe i-country as a whole loko ngeke sibalekele.
Zanesh, I appreciate you. Let's go to Dr. Modise. Dr. Modise is out in Pretoria. Doc, always great to have you. Netbank Cup.
Hey, how's it, ma?
I'm always good, the good doctor, man.
But I just thought I get windmill. Get windmill. When Sundowns plays well, they are the first to say, yes, we are doing well. We have lost Kenya Pirates. If you go and check the statistics, we were the best. And Renate supporters of Sundowns, I just want to remind them, winning the cup or league is not our best right. We work hard. We revolutionize football in South Africa. We are where we are. You can't talk about the African football and not mention Mamelodi Sundowns. Just because of we have lost Jamie Ella, we have played well in that game, in the entire season. I mean, from Limpopo. I don't agree. And Reina Relma Sundowns from Acacia branch, maybe there's another good branch. As a cultural member of Mamelodi Sundowns, we are happy. The way Sundowns is playing. Have I put permission, ma? Other teams. And we can't allow and just Sundowns this and no. At present moment, we are the best team. Yes, we have beaten the Orlando Pirates, which is the second best team in South Africa. They are the second, but they are far away. And then you want to compete with me.
Why am I catching stray shots? Why are you thinking?
No, Andile, 2 minutes I just want to say, if Rulani Mukwena is listening,
say it. I know the message will get to him.
The card-carrying members of Mamelodi Sundowns, we are behind you. And we see the football that we want to play. The football that is being played by the Flamingo of Brazil. Look, we have lost. We went to Bombela. We came back at the but we have seen the mistakes are in. We'll rectify that. We want to win the second star. We are happy with Sundowns. And Negirma Sundowns among us, come on, somewhere go fast. Next year we are still going to win this league. People say this is a big fish.
Dr. Modise, I mean, I don't know why I was catching stray shots. You know, I don't know how I got into that, but nonetheless, Faith is okay. She's not in the studio yet, so let's take one more while we wait for Faith. But as soon as Faith comes in, we're going to need to rectify it. Where are we going? Lisiba Faith, so it's on you. Go for it. Hey.
Let's give credit where it's due, Hot Managa. And I'm one of your Rekis of you say, Mother or how for the Africa. Damana Sanson Negamo. I know, and also some mother when you're done with Africa to your next what day and below stay here. If I enjoy Hot Managa.
The Spanish matador. Lisiba out in Pretoria. Thank you, Bosaka.
Yeah, no, I want to just say one thing. We have to give credit where it's due. Jose is yet to lose a cup final. You have to know different things. It's good that you can win the league, but a cup final is very important. And I'm not, according to him, I still stick with Vito. He said it. You cannot count the African League. There was no big teams in there.
Lisiba. I don't know. Many will count that. We're going to get out of here. It's 1 after the hour 7. Faith is with us. Hey, how are you?
Hi, how are you doing?
Are you good?
I am very well, thanks indeed.
Tamani had a poll running. The drama Roland Garros continues. The two greats in tennis, Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic, are out. Is it the end of an era for the GOATs? What do you think?
I don't think it's an end of an era as yet.
Yeah? They still have something in them?
I think they still have something in them.
Well, majority of South Africans said definitely end of an era. 41% of them. Yeah, of the almost 100 votes, definitely end of an era for those two. I don't know. I think maybe they have one more. But I don't know. Speaking of one more, are we still, is this one more show at the Politik? It's a vote? Because, decisions haven't been made yet, have they?
No, decisions have not been made. In fact, we're currently in a phase where we're having talks about talks. So right now, the ANC's National Working Committee is also meeting to discuss exactly where the political party stands in terms of coalition talks. As many other political parties are looking to put forward their list of demands in terms of what kind of policy reckoning they would like or policy alignment they would like if they're going to work with, for example, the African National Congress. And I think that the biggest thing right now is also responses from South Africa as a whole. I think that becomes very pertinent in terms of what kind of South Africa are we really truly going to be going into, because we are going into uncharted waters, especially when it comes to coalition governments, because there is no legislation. There's no legislation that speaks about the regulation of coalitions and how coalitions work in this country. There is no, only at local government.
And my math is a little bit off here. And like I've been saying, I haven't quite followed. There's been just too much at plus 40% of the ANC. Mm-hmm. All the others, it would take a miracle to get 50 plus 1 from the others working together.
Without the African National Congress. Look, it will
take... It's possible.
It is possible, but it would take... for example, the Democratic Alliance has got about 19... it's got about 84 seats, right? We've got MK with 58 seats. Right, we've got the EFF with 44 seats, IFP with 40. It will take all of them wanting to work together, right, to actually be in this position. We've got 100 and it depends. So yesterday we had a conversation with the CASIC that was speaking about how we need about 155 seats in order for there to be an actual quorum and a majority so that parliamentary work can continue. That's why there is no scare in terms of if Umkhonto we Sizwe says they would all want to be part of parliament for the first sitting of the National Assembly. They don't need it because they only need the third of it to form a quorum. So it's about how many. But unfortunately, also with the Constitution, it needs between 350 to 400 members in order for them to be an action agreement on certain matters of the National Assembly. So it's going to be interesting.
It is. We need to follow. This is new things. When the kids are asking, we need to have answers for them. And at the moment, my kids are asking, and I'm like, let me go look it up. Let me go listen to Faith. Anyway, I've taken too much of your time. What else do you have going on?
This evening, we're taking a look at something that is horrific. Please be safe out there, because we're going to be speaking to Kokta KZN spokesperson regarding the KwaZulu-Natal destructive storm or tornado. I don't know how many people have seen it, actually, that hit parts of KZN yesterday. We're going to be speaking to Kokta KZN spokesperson. Then we're going to go from KwaZulu-Natal to the Eastern Cape, because we also faced similar plights, unfortunately, when it comes to flooding in the Eastern Cape. So we're going to be looking at contingency matters that have been made available for citizens that are stuck. The ANC's alliance partner COSATU is rejecting any coalition with the Democratic Alliance. They're going to tell us their thoughts this evening. We've got Matthew Parks, who's COSATU spokesperson, joining us from the conversation. And then, as we said, we've got reactions from political parties as they continue in terms of what are the demands that they're putting forward. We're going to start off with Umkhonto we Sizwe's national spokesperson. We're going to go with Rise Mzansi's chief organizer. Then we're going to be speaking to the IFP, especially for KwaZulu-Natal, in terms of where the IFP is leaning. We've got Avelinkosi Hlabisa, the leader of IFP.
They're the kingmakers there,
yeah? So also in conversation with us this evening. It's going to be another jam-packed one. And I love the fact that you said that, we're in this place where people are asking, kids are asking a lot of questions. They should be asking a lot of questions because this is their democracy, and they also need to know what are the governing rules of this democracy. And we can no longer be asleep when it comes to the republic, because as I said, and I think we need to stress this, there is no formal legislation that actually governs the way that coalitions work at a national, provincial level. So all of this, we're all going to be learning as a collective.
It's funny hearing people say, no, give me Home Affairs. Give that one Treasury. Give that one, what about Department of Sport? Who wants that? Come. Arts and culture. No one, I bet you now, no one is putting their hand up saying, give us arts and culture. No one. It's one of those that's overlooked. 6 after the hour 7. We're going to get out of here. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. We'll do it again tomorrow between 3 and 6. Tomorrow, we'll touch base with Mazola Molefe on, the ongoing chats that Kaizer Chiefs are having with coaches. Who is next in line? The conversation that Veli Mnyandu had with Pitso Mosimane yesterday. But also, we'll go to France to speak to Omar Kaktugba about Nigeria versus South Africa and Mbappe's announcement. Pella. And so, me.
We don't play games.
We run this mother.
We wrote the game.
Up in there, it's burning.
Metro FM. It's where you want to be.